fully demoned out Rosine rips through her own cocoon tree, and she flies towards Guts with insane speeds. The wind from her strikes knocks him off balance, and the sonic booms mess off his hearing. He decides the only way to stop this is to actually let her hit him, and the next time she swoops down, she stabs her stinger right through Guts' arm and carries him into the air with her. She taunts him as his blood runs down her stinger and sprinkles them both. She tells him he can't have Jill, and that Jill belongs to her. But then Guts puts his left arm against her chest, and we all know what's coming. The arm cannon blasts a hole through her, and they both fall to the ground hard. Guts struggles and crawls to his sword as Rosine tries to recuperate. As Guts grabs his blade, he starts to wrap his hand to the hilt. He wonders why he's ruined a few chances now to truly kill Rosine. He wonders if it's the story Jill told him about her, or the fact that she still does resemble that of a child. Guts tries to convince himself to black it all out, to just focus on the urge to kill, and pay attention to this particular drawing of Guts as he says this. This image resembles something we will see very soon. And with this, we are reminded of what this little story in the conviction arc really means for Guts. This is not a side story. This is here to show us what Guts is willing to do and willing to become to follow his dream. His dream is to hunt down and kill every single apostle. And like Griffith before him, he is uncompromising in this. He will put children in danger, potentially slice through Jill as well, and destroy an entire bit of forest of cocoon children to get to Rosine. Guts pushes Jill and Puck away so that he can focus on his goal. He is being taken over, losing his humanity. Griffith lost his humanity as well, sure in a completely different way, but is the consuming desire for a dream always meant to do this to someone? Will they lose their positive qualities in order to achieve it? Along with that, we are being told a story about childhood dreams and the refusal to grow up. With Rosine, she willingly closed her mind off to the reality and claimed she was the queen of the elves and made elves all around her, knowing fully well that they aren't actually elves. But like Guts, she was also blocking out important truths to follow what she always wanted. And here, the two of them are locked in a death battle and have virtually no connection other than this. Fate or causality brought them together, and it will ruin so much for both of them. Jill is still around the area as the trees catch on fire. A branch begins to fall towards her, but Rosine catches it. She wants her friend to be safe. She wants to fly away with her. Rosine, despite her demonic nature, does have genuine love for her friend. And as Miura does so well, he flips the script on us all the time. Here we feel sympathy for her. We forget for a moment how much death she's responsible for, and that she's killed her parents in order to obtain her power. Here it's like she really is just a kid stuck in a fantasy, and only wants her friend by her side. But then, Guts jumps out and stabs her in the back. And as we were all rallying for Guts and wanting to see him get vengeance when this arc started, now we're getting very mixed feelings about him actually carrying this out. It's changing him as a person, and also maybe some apostles have more to them than being just beasts. Rosine flies up in the air with Guts again, leaving Jill to accidentally be covered by another dead cocoon body. Jill is one moment after the other being brutally shown the reality around her. She's being forced to grow up fast, and I feel like mentioning, remember the Count's daughter back in the first Black Swordsman arc? After that battle, her life was ruined, watching her father die and learning the truth about what a monster he was. She learned about her mother's cheating heretic ways and how she was sacrificed so the Count could become a monster. She vowed revenge on Guts, and we got the first ever image of Guts breaking down and crying. This was a person whose life was inadvertently ruined by Guts, changed forever. And now it's as if it will repeat again with Jill. Guts' impact is making those who he encounters see the harsh, true realities of the world, and though we are on his side, and though we know he is fighting for a proper cause, we can't help but realize that he is damaging everyone around him in the process. Rosine asks Guts who he even is, and why he is doing this. And Guts' response is simply, "You wouldn't remember." And I love that reply. For a demon, most humans are simply food, and he figures there's no point in explaining it. She is also shocked that he is just a mere human and has caused her this much damage. Rosine flips him off of her and then flies in for another stab. And then, this happens. Guts turns his head and catches her stinger through his cheek in his fucking mouth. Oh! Ah! What the fuck? Guts, you motherfucking man! So badass! Guts! Oh my God! fuck? What the fuck? It's just sharp. It's brrr. You're like, "Argh!" He clenches his teeth, holding the stinger in place, and then slices through Rosine once more. They both plummet to the ground. We then get a little flashback of Rosine sitting alone in the valley when she was still a human. She sat there for days and never found any elves. Then her parents found her, and her dad began to beat her for embarrassing them and the village by running away. And then he hit her mom as well, thinking that Rosine might not even be his. This abuse and violence that only adults are capable of was something she desired to run away from. She was distraught and, more importantly, full of despair, the key ingredient to activate a Bailet. And one knows only moments after this, her parents were sacrificed, and Rosine the elf queen was born. Rosine falls to the ground, and Jill rushes to her. Rosine admits to her that there never was any elves, that it was all a fantasy. But then Jill shows her Puck, and I find this moment to be super sad and tender. As she's dying, Rosine sees that there is a real-life elf, and that elves really do exist out there somewhere. And Puck says that he sensed that they used to live here too, a long time ago. This makes Rosine happy, as she waited so long for these to be confirmed true. The story of Peacock, who always believed that he was an elf and wandered off to find them, that Rosine related to. But Rosine would change the story so that he actually was an elf, unlike how the story actually ended sadly, with Peacock returning 100 years later and everyone he knew and loved was gone after finding out he was, in fact, not an actual elf. But then Guts stumbles upon them, sword dragging behind him. He's blinded by rage and ready to deliver the final blow. Jill tries to stop him, but he pushes her aside. She jumps again over Rosine's body, and Guts lifts up his sword anyway. And we never truly get to see if he would have swung in this moment, for as he is ready to, he is hit with an arrow from the distance. Jill's father, leading the Holy Iron Chain Knights to the valley, has shot Guts with a crossbow. The little annoying drunkard got a lucky shot in while Guts was distracted and wounded. He is shot a few more times and then decides to run. The knights are determined to chase him, but Azon tells Jill's father to stay here with his daughter. And of course, wanting to be a hero, he's not satisfied with that. Rosine then stands and uses the last bit of energy she has to fly away. She soars over the valley, thinking about her parents and about the story of Peacock, how Peacock returned home to the reality that everyone he knew was gone. Rosine may have had a change of heart, but it was too late. Everyone she loved was gone, so she crashes to Earth one last time with the harsh reality of the children's tale's lesson burned into her heart. Jill's father tells her to come back home, but she refuses. He swats at her and misses, and she tells him she's going to follow the Black Swordsman. Meanwhile, so is Farnese leading the Holy Sea Knights. Guts at this point is hiding behind a wall. He just fought an apostle, and it was one of the toughest and most brutal fights of his entire life. He is exhausted and bleeding out in multiple areas. The nights go by, but Jill is able to find him. Jill asks him to take her with him, to take her away from her village. Guts simply tells her to look around. They are currently surrounded by low-level evil spirits, as nighttime brings them to Guts' brand every single night. He says if she wants to leave and doesn't care where, this is where she will be. Guts tells her, there is no paradise for you to escape to. There is no misty valley like in the Peacock tale. No place where safety is guaranteed. I believe this is a metaphor for growing up and facing the real world. Jill is a child, and this is her coming-of-age story. But she wants to jump headfirst into the reality she's been shown. But reality is harsh and uncaring, and you always need to be on guard. This is Guts' world in the fantasy of BERSERK, but it is also true to life. Adulthood is not a paradise. It is not a freedom. It is fighting day after day and having no guarantees. Guts tells her this is his battlefield, and that she must go back to her own. He then leaves her. Jill sees that the fire has moved away all the mist from the valley. The sky is clear, and she remembers flying with Rosine. Two children with amazing fantasies in their heads. Now she's back on the ground, and she has her own battle and struggle to fight. Puck says goodbye, and gives her a bag of elf dust as a parting gift. And Jill waves goodbye to him as he goes after Guts once more. And as she walks away, she's a little wiser, a little stronger, and a little older. And this concludes the Lost Children chapters. It's still a part of the overall Conviction arc, but is also a very isolated story. Overall, I think it's wonderful, and I never expected it to be much of anything. But Berserk constantly surprises me. My only gripe is that since I really did like Jill, I kinda wish she stayed on as a main character. As this arc continues, we will go and get a few new main characters, and I could swap one or two of them out for Jill instead if I had my own say in the in the matter, especially when it comes to another character we will meet soon. But all in all, I think things are looking up for Jill, and I'm just excited she didn't die, because that was always a possibility with Berserk as well. But as Jill's story ends on a note of hope, Guts's is getting darker than it's ever been before. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate the support on these videos. Please give it a like, a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you next week in the next Berserk video.